Welcome to the Human Curious. If you enjoy exploring the mysteries of identity and history, make sure to subscribe, share, and like this video. Let's dive in. My name is Alwi. It's the name I use, the one I hear most often, or at least that is the name I answer to, the name people use when they need something, or want to get my attention. It's a practical name, I suppose. It's a common name in Bandung. You hear it called out across the marketplace, echoing in the narrow streets. As solid and unremarkable as the handle of my favorite brush. Reliable, dependable, but lacking a certain spark. But it's never felt like mine. Not truly. It sits on me like a borrowed coat, something I wear out of necessity, not choice. Never quite fitting, the sleeves are too long, the shoulders too wide, it's just not. Every time someone calls Alwi, my head turns but my soul does not. There's a disconnect, a hesitation, a subtle but persistent feeling of being misidentified. It's a label for this body, these ink-stained fingers, the hands that create, but not for who I am. Not for the thoughts that swirl within, the dreams that take flight in the quiet hours. In my small workshop, tucked in a narrow alley away from the noise and bustle of the city, I am a calligrapher. Here, surrounded by my tools, I find a semblance of peace. I spend my days with paper and ink, lost in the world of characters and symbols, finding solace in the curve of a letter, the way the ink flows from the brush, the balance of a character, the harmony of form and meaning. My clients see Alwi, the craftsman, the one who can bring their words to life on paper. Precise, patient, withdrawn. They see the product of my labor, but not the person behind it. They don't see the boy who whispered other names in the dark, experimenting with identities, searching for a comfortable fit, searching for one that fit, a name that resonated, that felt like home. I watch people in the markets and cafes, observing the way they carry themselves, the way they interact with the world. Their names woven into their being, an integral part of who they are. Bunga, who sells flowers, her name as vibrant and fragrant as the blossoms she offers. Bayu, who moves like the wind, his movements as fluid and unpredictable as the breeze. For me, Alwi is just a tag, a convenience for others, a placeholder. It tells you nothing of the person who dreams of forgotten languages, of scripts lost to time, and the taste of words with no modern meaning, the echoes of voices long silenced. It's just a sound, a vibration in the air, devoid of personal significance. My work is my only peace, the only place where I feel a sense of control and purpose, a fleeting sense of rightness, a momentary alignment of self and action. I've always suspected the most important sounds have been lost, swallowed by the passage of time, and I wonder if my true name is among them, hidden within those forgotten syllables, waiting to be rediscovered. Perhaps one day I'll find it. The manuscript arrived on a Tuesday, a day like any other, or so I thought. Little did I know this delivery would unravel the threads of my understanding of history, of language, and perhaps even reality itself. It was delivered by a stern-faced woman from the university, her expression suggesting the gravity, or perhaps the burden, of the package she carried. She handed it over with a curt nod, leaving me alone with the mystery it contained. It was impossibly old, the kind of age that whispers stories of forgotten empires and long-lost knowledge. The paper fragile yet resilient, a testament to the enduring power of words, even as time sought to erase them. Each crease and fold seemed to hold a secret, a memory etched into its very being. My task: restore what was fading, to coax the stories back to life from the brink of oblivion, stabilize what was crumbling, to prevent the echoes of the past from being lost forever. It was a delicate dance between preservation and revelation, the Lantar Swara, the manuscript of the voice, a fitting name for something silent so long. Decades, perhaps centuries, had passed since its last reading, its voice trapped within the aged pages. Under my lamp, the world faded away. The sounds of the city, the demands of daily life all receded into the background. There was only the manuscript, bathed in the warm glow of the lamp, its secrets waiting to be unlocked. The smell of old paper, a comforting aroma that spoke of history and knowledge, filled the air. And the gentle clink of my tools, a rhythmic counterpoint to the silence as I prepared to begin my work. The script was unlike anything I'd seen, a language that defied categorization, a code that seemed to hum with an inner energy. Letters like maps of energy, pulsing with life. Each stroke was deliberate, each curve imbued with meaning, a testament to the skill and artistry of the scribe. I felt less like a restorer, meticulously preserving the past, more like an archaeologist brushing away centuries of sleep, uncovering a lost civilization, one delicate stroke at a time. As I traced one particular character, a symbol that resonated with an inexplicable familiarity, the ink shimmered, catching the light in a way that defied explanation. A faint silvery glow blooming from my brush as if the ink itself was awakening. The air thickened, silence pressing in, heavy and expectant. I froze, my breath caught in my throat. The light faded, leaving only black ink on parchment, stark against the aged paper. I told myself it was fatigue, the long hours and the intense concentration playing tricks on my eyes, but I knew it was something else, something far more profound and unsettling. A secret waking up, stirring from its slumber, ready to be unleashed upon the world. The manuscript was not just words, it was more than just ink and parchment. It was a container, a vessel holding something ancient and powerful, something that had been waiting patiently for its release. I had just touched the lock, unknowingly triggering a chain of events that would change everything, and I wondered, what secrets lay dormant within those pages? What truths were waiting to be revealed? What if our true names aren't lost, erased by the passage of time and the shifting sands of history, but hidden in silent ink, waiting to be rediscovered, waiting to be spoken once more? Days passed. The glowing phenomenon returned, always with the same symbols. Keys, I thought. One spiral drew me in. I traced it in the air, compelled to give it voice. One stormy night, I tried. The sound I made was ancient, guttural, a vibration deep in my chest, like stones grinding in a river. The moment it left my lips, the world shifted. The bulb above flickered blue, rain hung suspended outside. For a heartbeat I was anchored, real, whole. The feeling vanished, but I was changed. The echo of that sound vibrated in my bones. I had touched something fundamental, woven into existence itself. It wasn't magic from stories, but something deeper. I had spoken a forgotten word and felt a sliver of true power. The name Alwi felt hollower than ever, a shadow next to the truth I'd tasted. I realized the right sound could realign everything. I wanted to find more. I needed to know what I had awakened. The experience left me shaken and hungry for answers. I dove into research, starting with psychology. I found nominative determinism, the idea that names shape identity and choices. But what if names were more than suggestions? What if they were blueprints? My name Alwi, meaning first or son, always felt ironic for someone who felt like a shadow. I saw how names shaped people, or forced them into ill-fitting molds. The research gave my feelings a framework. The moment of power I'd felt was pure alignment, sound, and being as one. Science gave me a map, but the land was stranger and older than psychologists guessed. I wondered, what if the wrong name is a lock that never opens? My search led me to mythology and folklore. The idea of a true name was everywhere. Isis and Ra, European grimoires, Norse runes, indigenous secret names. To know a true name was to have power. To lose it was to lose yourself. The Lontar Sawara wasn't just a record, it was a dictionary of lost names. The glowing symbols were true names of concepts, forces, maybe people. The unease I'd felt was not just mine. It was a shared condition. We all wore borrowed coats, answering to sounds that weren't our own. The mystery was bigger than me, it was about everyone. We lived in the shadow of a great forgotten theft. The clues to reclaiming what was lost slept in old books. Icebreaker time. What's the most unique name you've ever heard? Share it in the comments below and let's see who has the most interesting story. I craved a mechanism for this power. I found it in Cymatics, the study of visible sound. Watching sand form patterns on a vibrating plate, I saw sound shape matter. The manuscript symbols weren't pictures of things but of sounds, cymatic patterns of true names. The magic was physics, forgotten but real. The word I spoke was a precise frequency, realigning something inside me. For a moment, I became perfectly organized. My inner chaos snapped into harmony. I wrote my own name, Alwi, and wondered what pattern it made. Simple, incomplete. The true names in the manuscript were complex, resonant, sonic keys for reality. The ancient calligraphers were scientists and artists, mapping the music that holds the world together. I realized the right sound could unlock the self, the wrong one could keep you lost. The manuscript was a bridge between worlds. I was learning to cross it. A darker picture formed. If true names held power, they'd be the ultimate tool of control. History became a story of erasure, not just of land, but of names. I called it the severing. A slow campaign to erase true names and replace them with borrowed ones. Conquerors burned libraries, outlawed native tongues, and gave us new names to break our connection to power. The severing was the greatest act of conquest. By taking our names, they took our agency. We became suggestible, disconnected from our strength. Over generations, we forgot we'd been robbed. The Lontar Swara was a survival guide, a hidden key. My work was not just restoration, it was uncovering evidence of the greatest theft in history. This was a weight I was willing to bear. The severing was a wound I saw everywhere, especially here. Colonial powers imposed their languages and names, severing us from our history and the magic in our own words. The feeling of being a stranger in my own life was inherited trauma, a ghost of stolen identity. We were taught to value foreign names, forgetting the power in our ancestors' words. My work on the manuscript became an act of defiance, a reclamation. Each restored character was a step back to myself and my culture. The glowing ink reminded me, the magic still pulsed beneath the surface. The pain became meaningful, a map back to wholeness. I listened for echoes of the old words in the city's sounds. The magic was dormant, waiting for us to remember how to call its name. The search had taken me through dusty libraries and forgotten lore, chasing whispers of a name that felt both familiar and distant. But the final truth, the one that resonated deep within my being, came not from ancient texts or whispered legends, but from my own hands. My true name wasn't waiting passively in a book, etched in ink and bound in leather. It had to be actively built, brick by brick, experience by experience, not merely found like a lost artifact. It was a construction project of the self. The manuscript, with its cryptic symbols and tantalizing clues, was a guide, a starting point, not a final destination. It offered a path, but it was up to me to walk it, to shape it, to ultimately define where it led. A true name, I realized, isn't bestowed. It's forged in the crucible of life, hammered out on the anvil of experience. It is forged from the life you live, the choices you make, the paths you bravely tread, and the consequences you willingly embrace. Each decision shapes the contours of that name. I began to act, to step outside the confines of my own search, and engage with the world around me, teaching, sharing the knowledge I had gained, connecting with others, building bridges of understanding and empathy, creating art that reflected my inner world and resonated with the souls of those who beheld it. Each action, each moment of courage, each act of kindness became a brushstroke on the canvas of my identity. Each experience, both joyous and challenging, became a syllable in my true name, a testament to the person I was becoming. The bravery of speaking the ancient word, of daring to voice the truths I had discovered, the focus of my craft, the dedication to honing my skills and perfecting my art, the love for my city, its vibrant energy, its hidden corners, its diverse tapestry of people. These were its raw materials, the building blocks of my evolving identity. I was no longer waiting passively for a name to magically appear, for a label to be bestowed upon me that would perfectly encapsulate my being. I was actively building myself into a shape that was true, authentic, and uniquely my own. The name Alwi is still what people use, the identifier I present to the world, but it no longer defines me, no longer confines me to a predetermined box. My true name is something I am still assembling, a work in progress, constantly evolving and being refined, and perhaps always will be, a lifelong journey of self-discovery and creation. It is the sound of my brush against the canvas, each stroke a reflection of my soul, the echo of laughter shared with loved ones, a testament to the joy and connection I find in the world, the beat of my heart in rhythm with itself, a steady pulse of life and purpose. It is a name spoken not by the mouth, not by the labels others assign, but by a life lived with intention, with passion, and with unwavering commitment to my own truth. I found peace not in discovering a lost word from a forgotten age, a name preordained and waiting to be claimed, but in creating my own, in shaping my identity through the choices I make and the life I live. Your true name, therefore, is not simply what you are called by others, the label they use to identify you. It is what you answer to in the deepest part of your soul, the essence of who you are when all the external noise fades away. And it is waiting, patiently and expectantly, for you to build it, to craft it, to breathe life into it with every action you take. Thanks for watching The Human Curious. If you enjoyed this journey, please subscribe, share, like, and comment your thoughts below. See you in the next adventure.